My biggest fear in life is that this man may never witness our full takeover. Yes, he may never witness that.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the mayor now.
Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Robi Masaga. Guys, today we need to talk about something that's been, making waves online. And honestly, it's difficult to watch. A viral video shows a Somali migrant in Minneapolis making some incredibly bold statements about takeover of America. He's speaking directly to President Trump, saying Trump won't live, to see their complete takeover, but his sons will. Now, before we dive in, let me be clear. This isn't about attacking any community. It's about examining how reckless words from one person can damage the reputation of millions. We are going to break down why this rhetoric is so dangerous. What's driving this kind of entitlement, and most importantly, what it means for immigrant communities across America. This conversation is uncomfortable, I know, but it's very necessary.
My biggest fear in life is that this man may never witness our full takeover. Yes, he may never witness that. He already witnessed our partial takeover, our little success in America. And he is the reason, actually, I know that the community in America is thriving. He is how I know. It's like, he's how we measure our progress. If he doesn't tweet, somebody messed up. I know it. Somebody fucked up the plan. If he tweet, I know. We're doing the right things. Yes, that's how I know. So, he's old and sick, I know. He may not witness our full takeover, but I promise you that his sons will witness. Just like him, we came to exist in this country. See? The land of free men. The land of opportunities. And we're here. Yes. And we're not leaving, actually. We're not going back. What do you mean go back? You should go back first. You see? If you come first, you go first. See? Just like you. Tell me how you own this land. Explain to the world how this land became your land. Tell the world.
Y'all out there, the Somalians is talking reckless. Y'all is talking reckless, especially it's one Somalian. I don't even know if I should call him brother because they don't want to be identified. They're not like us. So whatever, it's a Somalian man or Somali American man talking directly to Trump saying, hey, Trump, you go first. You leave first. You think we leaving? We ain't going nowhere. You going first. Show us how you own this country. He is talking big and reckless. This is ours. He's saying we ain't going nowhere. If y'all think we going somewhere, y'all got another thing coming. Y'all haven't even witnessed the takeover. They saying, Trump, you witnessed a small part of the takeover, but you ain't witnessed the total degree of what the Somalians have came to do. I mean, listen, some people could learn some stuff about from them, about how arrogant they is about this country that they are taking over. Gosh, I'm just saying, this whole Somalian thing, I'm trying my best to not like get emotionally attached or invested into it, but it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. I'm gonna keep y'all posted because they talking reckless.
Good morning, friends. So Stephen Miller announced yesterday that the Trump administration has launched a full-scale investigation into the Somali fraud in Tim Walz, Minnesota. He said that the Somali fraud operation in Minnesota is the single greatest theft of taxpayers' dollars through welfare fraud in American history. He said that what they're about to uncover is gonna shock the American people. I don't believe anything shocks us at this point anymore.
And right on cue, Somali activists are out full force, bragging out there about what they did and about taking over this country. They are bragging brazenly.
Did you get what he was saying? He said, my biggest fear in life is that this man may never witness our full takeover.
He's talking about Trump. He said he already witnessed our partial takeover, our little success in America. He is how we measure our progress. If he doesn't tweet, I know somebody messed up the plan. If he tweets, I know we're doing the right thing. He said he's old and sick about Trump. He may not witness our full takeover, but I promise you his sons will. He goes further, mocking Americans, mocking the idea of borders, mocking the people whose country he believes he now owns. He goes on to say, we came here and we're not leaving. What do you mean go back? You should go back first. He's telling President Trump to go back first. So you tell me, is this a guy that wants to come and assimilate and seek better life? Is this real immigration? This is ideological conquest rhetoric. This is a triumphalist language. This is a supremacist language. And unfortunately, this is the same exact thing that happened in the UK, the Netherlands, the Germany, France, Sweden, Belgium, every country that opened its doors and ignored the warning signs. This is what's happening to them. And now it's here in America, on camera, unashamed, unmasked. What are we gonna do about it? I mean, guys, look at the patterns. They are identical everywhere, from mass migrations to parallel communities to demographic dominance, open political movements, aggressive cultural demands, open talk of takeover. And I'm afraid by the time Congress wakes up, it's too late. President Trump told the truth about what's happening with the Somali community in America. America must learn from the nations already failing under the same exact pressure. So I'll say it again for the libtards in the back. If a foreigner is in your country and demanding you accept their culture as yours or change your beliefs for that person's religious needs, that's not an immigrant. That's an invader. That's a hostile present in your country. Okay? They want to destroy your beliefs and your culture to invade and conquer. Get it in your little brains. Okay.
They are literally saying it straight to our faces that they want to take over. And I'm sure our taxpayer dollars were paying for those braces of his. But besides, the point is, we need to collectively get together because we all have the same core values that this should not be happening. And I'm sure we can all agree that this should not be happening in our country. But we are so divided, split up about, you're questioning things and people get mad if you question things, or you're questioning the questioner. And it's just a whole big ordeal here when we should actually be concentrating on this, what is happening right now in our country. That people are literally screaming in our faces. They want to take over and they don't like America, and death to America.
I live in Minneapolis. I've had Somali doctors, nurses, servers, Uber drivers. There are students here. I've shopped next to Somali families at the Mall of America. There's an indoor soccer place near me where Somalis frequently play while their partners and their kids sit at tables and do homework, or read a book, or look at TikTok. There are about 60,000 Somalis in the state of Minnesota out of 6 million people, and about 500 of them are under temporary protected status. The rest are legalized residents or naturalized citizens. There are not roaming gangs of Somalis on the streets. There is not a Somali takeover, and 80% of crime here is not caused by Somalis. Shame on Tom Emmer for telling such a dangerous lie, and shame on President Trump for using the alleged actions of a small number of people to demonize an entire group of my fellow Minnesotans.
This is all I know.
I was only 3 years old when I came, and this is my home, and this has got to stop.
I'm not scared. So I'm a citizen. I'm happy. I'm United States. I brought up America. I'm happy. So why you asking me? Some guys asking me, give me basmati, give me a green card. Why? Why you asking me?
Almost every Somali person living here is a citizen.
There's more than 100,000 Somalis in Minnesota. Roughly 84,000 reside in the metro. The journey from Somalia started decades ago.
My family immigrated here to Minneapolis, to Minnesota in 1993. As my father says, we came to a cold place, but we found people with warm hearts.
My parents wanted to provide us a good opportunity for us to chase after that American dream, right?
Many fleeing from civil war, crossing continents for a chance to build something, a chance for their children. For Sumaya Mahmood, her parents' struggle paved the way for her to shine. Despite the rhetoric, she's grateful to be Somali and American.
One thing they taught me was resilience and not letting, other people's perception of you limit what you can do for yourself. I was born in Kenya, and then I grew up here, started kindergarten, K through 12, all the way up to college here in Minnesota. So
now let's address the elephant in the room. Somali refugees, they went to America fleeing war, persecution, and even unimaginable trauma. They were welcomed. They were given refuge. So why would someone stand up and speak with such arrogance about a takeover? Why challenge the sitting president and tell him to, go first? Here's the reality. This isn't about confidence. This isn't about entitlement, replacing gratitude. And I'm not saying immigrants should be silent or subservient. Absolutely not. But there is a massive difference between contributing to society while celebrating your culture and declaring ownership over a land that provided you safety. What bothers me most is how this affects everyone else. When one person speaks like this, it becomes ammunition for people who already believe immigrants don't belong. It gives politicians a reason to investigate entire communities. It justifies policies that hurt innocent people who are just trying to build better lives. The truth is this. The kind of rhetoric doesn't just attack the establishment. It attacks average Americans who are struggling too. It creates division, and when communities don't police this kind of language themselves, outsiders will. And that never ends well. Now, let me break down what's really happening here, because this goes deeper than one viral video. This rhetoric of conquest fundamentally changes how Americans perceive immigrant loyalty. Instead of seeing refugees as people seeking safety or a better life, they are now viewed as invaders, as hostile entities. And that is exactly what happens when someone uses language like takeover, and you haven't seen the complete picture yet. You are no longer an immigrant. You are a threat. Think about the psychological impact. Earlier generations of immigrants, they went to America with humility and gratitude. They learned language, respected the culture, and contributed to society. But somewhere along the line, something shifted. Refugee became reinterpreted as conquest. Gratitude was replaced by entitlement, and that transformation is rooted in something much deeper. I need you to understand this. The arrogance we are seeing isn't coming from a place of strength. It's coming from pain. When people don't process the trauma of displacement, the guilt of surviving when others didn't, or the anger toward their home country that failed them, that pain mutates. It becomes toxic. It transforms into a divisive picture that says the world has already taken everything from me, so I'll take whatever I want. Some people feel justified in this behavior because, they believe the West owes them a debt. And look, there's truth to that. But here's the problem. Attacking average Americans who are also struggling doesn't settle that debt. It doesn't hold the powerful establishment accountable. It just creates more enemies among people who have nothing to do with those political decisions. And let's be honest about the consequences. When someone publicly declares that Trump will witness a partial takeover and his sons will witness the complete one, what do you think happens? Investigations, policy changes, mass deportations that don't just affect the person who said it, they affect entire communities. This is exactly what we are seeing now with the announced full-scale investigation into alleged Somali fraud in Minnesota. This spillover effect is real and devastating. When one person's arrogance makes headlines, suddenly all Black and non-white immigrants become part of someone else's narrative. You become fodder for politicians like Stephen Miller, who generalize entire communities as criminals. Never mind that Somalis in Minnesota are doctors, teachers, business owners, and taxpayers. None of that matters when someone stands up and declares conquest. And here's what people need to understand about belonging. True citizenship isn't just about documents. It's about contributing to the social contract. It's about assimilating, not erasing your culture, but respecting the land that gave you refuge. When you use conquest rhetoric, you violate that contrast. You make yourself an outsider by choice. So what's the solution? How do we move forward from this? First, we need to separate gratitude from social contribution. Showing thanks doesn't mean staying silent or being subservient. It means engaging with society respectfully. It means contributing. It means recognizing that citizenship is about being part of the whole, not just holding papers. Second, communities need to address this internally. If you see someone using this kind of supremacist language, call it out. Don't let it slide because you share, the same background. Because if you don't police yourselves, others will, and their methods won't be fair or even measured. Third, we need to acknowledge the pain without, excusing the behavior. Yes, there is trauma. Yes, there is historical injustice, but that doesn't justify threatening language or even declaration of conquest. Healing matters, but it can't come at the expense of creating new conflicts. And finally, we need nuance in conversation. The vast majority of Somali immigrants aren't thinking about takeovers. They are thinking about paying rent, raising kids, and building futures. But when we allow extreme voices to dominate the narrative, we lose that nuance. We allow fear and division to win. This isn't about attacking anyone or any community. It's about protecting all communities, including immigrant communities, from the consequences of reckless rhetoric. Because when one person acts like a conqueror, everyone else pays the price. The actions of a few shouldn't define the many. But silence in the face of extremism allows exactly that to happen. So speak up, contribute positively, show the world what true integration looks like. Not conquest, not submission, but partnership. That is where I'll leave you guys. And also, I need to know what your thoughts are about this particular topic on the comments. Also, remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, bye-bye.